I am Prince Vegeta. Kneel before your god.
What's going on, YouTube? Andre here with the DM Network, and I just want to ask for y'all to subscribe to the channel if you new. It's completely free, doesn't cost you anything, and it helps us out tremendously to continue to do what we enjoy doing and bringing content. Now, on to the video. So, in this edition of the Dragon Ball Project Z series, I want to talk about something that I don't hear talked about a lot, and I don't see rightly represented in Dragon Ball games, and that is training. Yes, training. We see in Dragon Ball, before the Z fighters fought in the against the Saiyans and Raditz even, they trained. If you back up in the Dragon Ball, Goku and Krillin training with Master Roshi, training before the tournament. Every fight that has gone on in Dragon Ball, there has been training associated with it. Even most recent in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. Spoiler, really minor spoiler here, but at the beginning of the movie, well, not the beginning of the movie, but once they caught up with present time, Goku and Vegeta were doing what? Training. How many episodes, how many new arcs and sagas have we gone into in Dragon Ball Z, even in GT and in Super, where it starts out with them training? Hey, where's Goku? He's off training. Hey, where's Vegeta? He's off training again. Gohan, why are you so weak? Because he doesn't train. Training is a very key essential to Dragon Ball. All things Dragon Ball and martial arts. If you don't train, then you're not going to be an effective fighter. You may have all the power in the world, but without training and fighting skill, you will suffer greatly. Frieza in Fukasu no F and in the Frieza arc in the anime was not able to beat Goku and Vegeta, not because he didn't have the power, but because he didn't train with that new power and thus wasn't able to maintain his form long enough to beat them. Training is important, and I have not seen a Dragon Ball game that represents that the way that it's represented in anime. But this game has the potential and the possibility to meet that with them being a action RPG game. It's claiming to be an RPG game, and in RPGs, leveling is essentially the core element of the game. I mean, you're playing a role, but in all RPGs, you're leveling your character. So they have to have a system put in place where training is somewhere as a major focal point of the game. Don't make it the main focus of the game. Of course, you don't want to do that. But training has to be super important in this game. And I'm going to do a multi-part series. The next series is going to be about transformations, and I'm going to tie the two together. But you'll get a little tidbits of it here because I'm going to mention it. For instance, and this is an example, your transformations, like I said with Frieza, he wasn't able to maintain golden form because he didn't train in that form. Gohan, when he first went Super Saiyan, wasn't able to maintain it because his body wasn't used to it. Goku, even. They talk all throughout the series that when you get a new transformation, your body has to be acclimated to that transformation to use it effectively. So if you go into this transformation and you haven't trained in it, then you're not going to have the stamina to maintain it. That's what happened to Frieza. And that's why in the hyperbolic time chamber, Goku and Gohan stayed Super Saiyan to get their body used to that form. So number one, they can stay in it longer without consuming as much stamina. And two, so they can, when they do transform into Super Saiyan, because their bodies are used to it, it doesn't use energy. And they're able to save a lot more energy because it takes a lot of energy to be able to transform. So training is essential. And I feel that it should be a big part of the game because with an RPG, you're going to have a grinding element. And you don't want players to be able to max out at full potential early in the game because then they run the risk of not having anything to do, essentially, without a very good end game. And then two, if it's too much of a grind, then you run the risk of players not wanting to play because, well, it's, it's just a lot of time invested with little reward. Now, this is going to be contingent upon if the game is multiplayer based or single player based. If it's single player based, then this works even better because, there's no rush to get through the game as it would be with the multiplayer game, because in a multiplayer game, people want to be able to fight against the best and be the best. In order to do that, you have to have a high level of strength and skill at the game. Whereas if it's single player based, there's no rush, because who are you rushing to be stronger than? You see what I'm saying? So in the single player system, this works perfectly to implement where I'm not going to say you have to train, but you have to train. Now, how much you train is completely dependent on you, but the more you train and the better you train, the more reward that you're going to get out of it. But then you have to implement a system to where people aren't just spending days and weeks training, in the game. You could have a fatigue factor, or, if you overtrain, then you start to lose stamina and stuff like that. Similar to how they do in like the UFC fighting games. If you ever played those, if you overtrain, then you actually lose attribute points and stats, because Goku even says that about training, that rest is important. Come on, Gohan, get your rest. That's just as important as training, you see. And even in real life, if you don't rest, then you don't get the full effect of your training, even be it in the weight room, running, martial arts, or whatever. Rest is equally as important. So if they implement a system into the game where you have to train to increase your stamina, increase your ki, not only that, but with transformations in the game, to be able to maintain whatever transformation you get longer, then now you have made training important. But how do you make it something that's a focal point, but also make it to where it's fun and engaging? I say you have to do away with the Xenoverse type training where you just go with a mentor, fight a couple battles, unlock some moves. If you remember Ultimate Tenkaichi, when you trained in Ultimate Tenkaichi, you did get some unlocks, but you also got attribute stats to certain attributes and things like that. They could implement a system like that. Or what we have in practice mode, where you're just fighting against the computer, they can even do that. Because not only are you playing with the character, learning different moves and stuff like that, but you're not having to worry about living or dying in the training. You see what I'm saying? Make it fun, make it engaging, but make it something that you need to do. If I'm in training and all I'm doing is deflecting ki blast, then that should boost a certain attribute associated with that, such as your defense. If I'm in training and I'm just firing Kamehamehas back to back to back to back, that should increase my ki. Why? Because I'm using ki. If I'm in training and I'm dodging, I'm powered up, full power, I'm making dodging and stuff like that, that should increase my stamina. You see, or the longer that you train should increase your stamina. See, different things that's already implemented in a lot of these Dragon Ball games, because it's in fighters where you can have the computer opponent fire ki blast at you. It was in Budokai, it's in Xenoverse. See, so give people experience from doing those things, but experience in, say, their speed or their defense or their ki or their stamina, depending on what they are doing. Because how many times did Gohan have to fire Kamehameha blast when training with Goku in Hyperbolic Time Chamber? Why? Because it teaches you ki control, and it also increases your ki because you're utilizing it, you're using it better. You see what I'm saying? So implement those things into the game and make training a focal point into the game. Now, I'm going to go deeper into training in the next video. In part 2 of this video, we're going to talk about transformations, and I'm going to tie training into that with more depth to talk about this, because it is very, very essential to this game, and I feel that it would add so much more depth and immersion to the game, as well as more realism to Dragon Ball, and it plays well with it being an action RPG. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in for this video. Stay tuned for the next one. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Don't forget to hit that like button and comment down below, what do you think about them, what you think they should do with training in the game. Till next time, thanks for watching. Peace.